Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Monday, the second day of February 2026. Hope you had a good weekend. Happy Monday. Hope you and your family enjoyed your weekend and that you and your family, in terms of the needs, food, shelter, clothing, as well as health, are all being met today. Blessings upon those that work in health, along with first responders who every day are doing their best to save lives, even if it costs them theirs. Those also that pick up garbage, keep the streets of our cities clean, and those that make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women out here trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children, victims of child molestation and pedophilia. People that are helping the ones that are victims of prostitution, child prostitution, pornography, child pornography, human trafficking, and sex slavery. By the way, I just want to remind people, no woman, no little girl grows up and say, I want to be a prostitute. No child, before they get to be a teenager, say, oh, please take me so I could be in pornography. Nobody wants to be trafficked. So these things are all coerced, forced on people. That's why they're victims. Prostitute didn't grow up saying, I want to be a prostitute. So when people utilize their services, you're just adding to the problem. Double curses on the perpetrators, profiteers, and perverts that create the demands that cause these evil industries to exist. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. More than 700,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, military veterans, homeless in the United States of America, and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. There was a basketball game last night at Madison Square Garden. The New York Knicks defeated the Los Angeles Lakers, Luka-Doncic and LeBron James and company, 112-100. The best thing about this game, what I'm looking at, what I'm always studying, is an eye toward the playoffs. It's a long season, and what the Knicks and any other team that wants to compete for the chip are doing is preparing for the part of the season that's the most important part, the playoffs. People get all lit about a bad loss and they be like, oh, this loss, the Knicks can't win. You're getting carried away. You don't get, and the players are always saying this, you don't get too high and you don't get too low. You're looking objectively at the goal. In this case, most of us understand the goal is the chip. They're in chip mode right now. Once they acquire Karl Anthony Towns, championship window's open. It's a 4-year window. We're in year 2. Okay? So all the talk about all the trades and all that, knuckleheads can only see short term and can only think based on a reaction, not on analysis, not on long term, not even longer than this streak. Streak is great, but the best thing that happened yesterday, although it's beautiful because, again, as Stephon Marbury said, the food tastes better when the Knicks win. That is absolutely true. But long term, and for us at this point, long term is May. Okay? What was really encouraging to me yesterday? So first we talked about McCall's declaration, his contrition, his repentance that spread through the team, of not being coachable, of not really taking things as seriously as he should, and the response that we saw. Second thing happened yesterday in the first quarter. Mike Brown called timeout. I think it was less than 3 minutes into the game. That was very, very important. Why? We've been talking all season about the Knicks following game plan. In big games, if you notice, I always go over what's the game plan? How are they going to win the coming game? And generally, there are certain non-negotiables, certain things that they must do to be successful, not only in any individual game, but as we're talking about long term. So what is that? The ball has to move. That's on Jalen Brunson. They got to get rebounds. They got to get rebounds. And we've been seeing Karl Anthony Towns and Mitch Rob, one man say, horsing the boards. They got to play good perimeter defense. They got to guard the paint. These are non-negotiables if you want the chip, because the top teams do that. By the way, we know that this streak started with the Brooklyn Nets. The Knicks beat the Brooklyn Nets by 54. That started where we at now. That's what you call things. That's why there's some games we call get right games, because they get you on track to do it. This is classic. The Knicks beat them by 54, and here we are now, 6-game winning streak, right? Just for context, last night, the Detroit Pistons beat the same Brooklyn Nets by 53. Why do I bring that up? There is, it appears to me, to be an inevitable collision coming between the New York Knicks and the Detroit Pistons in the playoffs. I'm not talking about the regular season, I'm talking about the playoffs. They got Detroit coming up in this next week or so. But I'm talking about there's an inevitable 7-game collision coming between the Detroit Pistons and the New York Knicks. And I'm going to also say the Detroit Pistons are playing championship basketball. Everything I just mentioned, they are doing every night. And if you look at their stats, you can, if you analyze their stats, they're getting in the paint and they're not letting the opponents get in the paint. They'd be very physical. Okay, Bickerstaff is doing, Cleveland messed up. Glad for Kenny Atkinson, but Cleveland messed up. This dude is doing a tremendous job. They are getting in the paint consistently. They are consistently out-rebounding their opponents. They are consistently guarding the paint. And then you got 6'8" Cade Cunningham. That's almost impossible to guard, just like SGA. Another tall 6'7", 6'8" point guard. Detroit's playing chip basketball. The Knicks are too right now. Okay? So, but Detroit has not let their foot off the gas since they took over first in the East. And here we are now, you know, this is now game, we just finished game 49. So they on this thing. We got a collision course coming. Okay, the two titans of the East are the Knicks and Detroit with Boston. Got to give Boston that too. Even without Tatum, Brown is on a mission. But it's really Detroit and the Knicks. So last night, the most important part of the game was the first 3 minutes. The Knicks started off the game, the first bucket for the Lakers. Mikal Bridges got outrun down the floor. This can happen with rookies, you know, young players, youngins. It cannot happen with players the level of Mikal Bridges. Just like I was talking a week or so ago, OG cannot get beat backdoor. Like, Tyler Kohler can get beat backdoor. He's still a young player, right? Jalen Brunson might get beat backdoor because he's not the top-notch defender, although he's playing good defense now. But what I'm saying is, Wingstop cannot get beat backdoor, and you cannot get outrun down the floor. Mikal did. And Mikal has a habit. And I've noticed this since he come to the Knicks. I've never said it because I don't want to partake in bashing him like the short-sighted knuckleheads do. From when he came here, the 5 picks first, and he leans back too far in his jump shot. I don't want to be a partaker in that stupidness. So I never said this before. But there are times when Mikal Bridges starts the game slow, like his head's not in it. It's like one time, right? Brunson said, the game starts at 7. In other words, when the tip-off starts at 7, you be ready to play at 7, full tilt. Sometimes Mikal don't start ready to play until 7:20, 7:30. And it shows with plays like that. Mikal is not a guy to, somebody was talking about, he can dominate if he does this, that. No, he's not a dominating type of player. He's like waves that hit a seashore. He's wearing out the seashore in waves. He's the road runner. He wears you out over the course of the game. And usually, as we saw many times, especially against Boston and Detroit last year in the playoffs, by the time you get to the fourth quarter, not only is he into the game, he's a major factor in the game, especially running the floor and on defense. So you gotta, Jay Wright, I remember when McCall redshirted, I think his first year at Villanova. When he came back after his redshirt season, Jay Wright would break on him because he would start off so slow. And Jay Wright, like in some cases, you would think, man, just get this guy out the lineup. He ain't into the game. But Wright would stick with him. And then come time to close out the game, McCall would always be there. And that's why he still has this consecutive game streak. He started every game in every year he played for Villanova. And the league is the same thing. So he started out with his head up his behind. Sometimes he starts off hitting, like he starts off lit. Those are good games for him. Not necessarily he's going to score 40, although he has done that. It's that he's in the game early, mentally. Last night he wasn't. Mike Brown called timeout. Now, why was that important? It wasn't just that McCall wasn't in the game mentally. It was the team wasn't following game plan. See, in earlier parts of this season, when, say, Brunson go off script, it would cost us. See, just because Brunson scored 20 in the first quarter is not necessarily a good thing, especially if nobody else is touching the basketball. Because then you're going to have tough time getting rhythm, getting your shot going the rest of the squad for the rest of the game. So it's not always good that Brunson scored 20, 25, whatever he does in the first quarter. He's the greatest, not greatest, but he's the leading first quarter scorer in the NBA. That's not always good for the long term of the game. So when Brunson goes off script, sometimes they don't check it and it causes us a game. But no, Brown put the kibosh on that and got them back on game plan. And the Knicks as a team, when they follow game plan, even against a good team like the Lakers. See, and the Lakers this year right now, if you look at the standings, I mean, the Lakers with Luka, and I've always said this. I said this before Luka came, when he was drafted. I couldn't understand why anybody would draft anybody before Luka. Luka's a basketball savant. There's guys that are just built for a particular thing. Like Michael Jackson was born to dance. If you've ever seen him dance, you can practice all you want. You will never dance like that. He could roll out of bed and do it. Certain people are just born for certain things. Luka could roll out of bed and bust anybody's ass as a basketball player from when he was 14 years old. And it was well known in Europe. The best player in Europe was 14 years old. Okay? And some guys got it like that. He can, and LeBron too, he could see the game. He knows he remembers the plays for the opponent. He knows what they're trying to do. He sees everything on the floor. He's 3 steps ahead of the play that he's in. And it's hard to quantify that. And it's definitely impossible to be able to do it unless you got that talent. So Luka's a savant. So it's no coincidence he leaves Dallas, who was top 6 when he left. And now he goes to the Lakers and they top 6. Now, they were in the 5th spot. Them and Minnesota battling that 5th, 6th spot. And between the Lakers and Houston, 4th, 5th, 6th, there's a game and a half separating them. So the Lakers is what I'm trying to say is a legitimate, solid playoff team in the West. And the Knicks beat them. The Knicks will wear them down. And they did. And that's why you're seeing a pattern. Either it's a wire-to-wire win, which is really, a blowout. But usually 3rd and 4th quarter, here come the Knicks. And you remember when the Knicks would have problems in the 3rd quarter. They'd come alive in the 4th, but because the Villanova crew would not let go, right? But now you're seeing them wear teams down so that if the Knicks go into the half and they're down 5 or they're down 6 or they're down 10, I ain't worried about it because they're going to come out and continue to follow game plan. And if they do that, they are already, of course, as you know, favorites in the East. They're in the top 3. I mean, but not just in the standings, but, in favoritism, the teams that can take the East and go to the finals, the Knicks are right there. So with a team at that level, certain things you expect. And now Mike Brown, which he didn't do earlier, But he's doing now. And in fact, they referenced Popovich on the broadcast yesterday, because Popovich would do that with the Spurs on the regular. And somebody said, I remember he called timeout 40 seconds into the game because Pop set game plan. There's very few tacticians on the level of Greg Popovich that ever coached this game. There's Red Auerbach, there's Steve Kerr now. There's very few though. Eric Spoelstra. That's one of the things you notice about great coaches. They will make sure that their team sticks to game plan. Now, sometimes there's nights on every team when the team just doesn't have it. It's an 82-game season. But you want game plan to be followed more often than not. In fact, way more often than not. So Mike Brown calls timeout. They get back to game plan. And they followed game plan, man. And they followed game plan. And they got this dub. And let me tell you, Luka was playing good. And they're going, if you probably noticed, Reggie Miller had the LeBron pom-poms on. It's driving me crazy. Every time LeBron did anything, it was, oh my God, it was almost like he was having an orgasm every time LeBron got the ball. And the refs, especially that little female one, the little monkey looking one with the dark hair, they're going, Karl-Anthony Towns getting raked across the face, grabbed, pushed. And they show it replay in slow motion. You be like, he got fouled like 4 times on this play. There was no call. And usually, and I know, Towns complain too much to the refs, but that was a bit ridiculous yesterday. But what I liked about it, he did not let it affect his game. And you and I know too, he has done that. He's let the refs affect his game. He did not do that last night. He did not allow the refs to affect his game. He's kept to the game plan. He kept to game plan yesterday. So the Knicks, as a team, they shot 43% from 3. They out-rebounded the Lakers 46-36. Offensive boards 14-7. They had 30 assists. The Lakers 21. I mean, they only had 10 turnovers. Points in the paint 46-40. This is what you want, Knicks Nation. Now, as I mentioned yesterday, we're not yet on all cylinders. I know that's scary, right? Why? Well, we didn't have Deuce. They are making sure Deuce's ankle is going to be ready come playoff time. And I am still, now listen, if you saw the game yesterday, and things, one of the things that, y'all know, I'm not the most patient guy in the world, especially with people that supposedly supposed to be rooting for the Knicks, right? No kidding. But look, what annoys me is people that don't actually watch the game but got something to say. And usually what they're saying is based on a theory, not on something that actually happens. Like somebody mentioned, how is Giannis and Mitch going to share the floor? And I said, listen, reality, I said, you're talking a theory. Reality, Mitch's second unit. He wouldn't be sharing the floor with Giannis. See, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. How are they going to do this? And these are the type of issues that people that are on national media bring up to have something to say. That's what I'm saying. It's not really relevant. If you watched the game yesterday, if you've been watching the Knicks over this 6-game winning streak, Tyler Kolek has made his case to let the Knicks know, forget Jose Alvarado. He made his case. I mean, yesterday he was +3. 14 minutes he played. 8 points. He was 3 of 10. But that don't tell the story. He managed the game. In his 14 minutes, he had 4 assists. 4. And 0 turnovers. He managed the game offensively. And boy, oh boy, what I was liking was how he fought defensively. The fight. Because again, game plan is keep your opponent out the paint. And all the Knicks, Brunson, Kolek, Shaman, they was fighting to keep LA out the paint. And obviously they won the game, so that was successful, and you could see points in the paint, 46-40. Whereas the Knicks, Brunson, OG, they were getting in the paint. And they're going Karl Anthony Towns, man. I mean, shoot. He had 4 assists, but it felt like he had more than that because when he was getting the ball, things were happening. See? Now, he only took, 11 shots, but it's not that. It's not the shots. It's the touches. He needs the ball in his hands. That's why I say give him the damn ball. Let him have the ball. Go off ball, Mr. Brunson. And when you do, Cat will find you. Or he'll get the hockey assist. And so did Kolek. Kolek was doing the hockey assist. He was directing the traffic so that his pass would lead to another pass would lead to a basket. Deuce used to do that when he first started with the Knicks, but he wasn't getting a lot of minutes like Kolek, right? But Kolek is making his case saying Jose Alvarado who? That's what I'm saying. I'd rather keep Kolek, honestly, and just roll with this. Kolek come up in the system. Kolek get drafted by the Knicks. Kolek is making his way into the rotation. We don't need no Jose Alvarado. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to, again, I always preface it. Somebody gonna say, we need another ball handler. Stop reading the media. That's what they're saying. You want to listen to what I'm saying? No, we don't need no freaking ball handler. We got enough. McCall handles the rock. OG handles the rock. Deuce handles the rock. Shamet handles the rock. Brunson handles the rock. Kolek handles the rock. All of them handle the rock. What do you mean we need another ball handler? I don't know what the hell these people talking about. Last night they had 30 assists. What? A ball handler's gonna cause them to get 40? Come on, man. No. We good. We good. So that's what I'm saying. When you're watching the game, you see really what's happening. So last night, our boy Brown went with 3 off the bench, really. I mean, Diawara played 5 minutes, but he really just touched. Brown is just allowing Diawara to get his foot in the water. He's not really playing him. But Shamet, Kolek, Mitch Rob, they played, okay? Mitch Rob had 7 boards, and we know, of course, I think he had 3 offensive rebounds. Yes, he did. And then we seen Kolek. I mentioned him. Shamet was lit. He can't go 6 of 6 every night like he did the other night, but he could do 6 of 10 on a lot of nights. And that's what I was trying to tell y'all from the summer. Everybody was like, oh, he might not make the team. I was like, y'all need to calm down. Shamet gonna be on the team. The only question was whether it was gonna be Kolek. Because if they were gonna take Brogdon, somebody getting traded. Okay? So Brogdon retires, opened up the way for Kolek to stay. We also had DeLon Wright, who they decided earlier wasn't going to be on the team. But there was no question, Shamet. And then yesterday, at the post game, Mike Brown said, oh, I saw the film before. I knew he was going to be on the team. And I was trying to tell y'all that. Why? Because the game's like yesterday. And you ain't seen yet. Wait till he get to the playoffs. That's what I'm saying. So the Knicks win their 6th straight. And now Brown has learned to make sure they're following the game plan. Brunson is bought in. McCall has bought in. OG is making his case. He did not make the All-Star team yesterday. I'm a little bit ticked about that. I guess they didn't want 3 Knicks on the All-Star game, even though he deserves it. He better be on All-NBA defense, though. He better be up for Defensive Player of the Year and All-NBA defense. There's only 2. There's first and second team All-NBA defense. He needs to be in there. There's just no question. Okay, so that should be a given. But yesterday, 21. He plus 21. He scores 23 points, 4 3-pointers, and lockdown defense on Luka-Doncic. And they now understand their game plan, and they're learning to, if they start veering away from game plan, timeout, get back on game plan. And they're doing that. And so yesterday, LeBron had 22. He shot 9 of 15, very efficient. Luka 30, 10 of 23. He was 5 of 14 from 3. He did not shoot the ball particularly well from 3. He did all right. I mean, 5 of 14 is good. I mean, I think that's like 40%, right? Close to 40, 39, 38. But this is Luka. I mean, this boy with that step back to the left, fade away from 28 feet, money, ridiculous. But the Knicks figured out how to at least have a shot. You can't stop him. You're not going to stop Luka. But that 30, you got to make him work for it. He was minus 13. See? LeBron was minus 17. That's what you're doing. You're trying to make him work hard on both ends of the floor. So, look, I like that. We really, it's not just the dub. The dub, of course, you want the dub. But I'm just saying, the game plan was fouled against a good team. 6 straight now. We're going to play tomorrow. The reason I don't have one of my Knicks hats on right now, I got 2 Knicks hats in my bag. I'm getting ready to go see my daughter. And me and her going to the game tomorrow. And I'm giving her one of my Knicks hats. So she has on one, I have on one. So, But, yeah. We got a game against Washington tomorrow. I'm not going to take anybody for granted now. This is the league. You can win 6 straight and Washington will beat your behind. So, got a game. Nobody get hurt. Let's keep going. Hopefully Deuce will be back. But, get the ankle right. You got a game Tuesday and it's a back-to-back. Wednesday, we play Denver with the Joker back at the Garden. That's going to be lit. So, y'all enjoy this because the 6 straight is, don't forget that. Okay, why am I talking to y'all? Some of y'all going to forget anyway. Next time they lose 2 in a row, some of y'all going to be ready to jump off the bridge and we shoulda, coulda, woulda. Anyway, y'all that are the true believers, enjoy this dub, enjoy your Knicks, enjoy the game tomorrow. I'm on my way to DC. We will talk. Shalom.